93% of your life is spent indoors, but so many of our favorite moments are outdoors. The fresh air, the feeling of peace. Since warmer weather is almost here, let's make the most of it with Outer, the new outdoor furniture company with purposely designed furniture to get you outdoors more.
Outer makes the world's most beautiful, comfortable, innovative, and high-quality outdoor furniture, all from sustainable materials. I love the new outdoor dining table and chairs I just bought. It looks great in my backyard, and it's the perfect setup for hosting a dinner party. Go to liveouter.com/thefounderhour to see all the incredible products they have to offer.
For a limited time, get 10% off and free shipping. That's liveouter.com/thefounderhour. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey everyone, before we get into the episode, just a quick reminder, if you enjoy what you hear, please follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. That way you get notified when new episodes drop. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn at The Founder Hour. Let's get into it. Welcome to another episode of The Founder Hour. Today we have a true visionary in our midst. She's not just a businesswoman, she's a fashion icon, a design guru, and a powerhouse in the world of retail. Join us in welcoming Kym Gold. Kym's journey began with co-founding True Religion, a brand that transformed the denim industry, bringing style and authenticity to the forefront. But she didn't stop there. Kym's entrepreneurial spirit led her to create Style Union Home, where fashion meets home decor, redefining the way we live. In this episode, we'll unravel Kym's incredible story, her resilience in the face of challenges, and the invaluable lessons she's learned. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or just passionate about fashion and design, Kym's insights and experiences are sure to inspire you. So without further ado, let's dive into this captivating conversation with Kym Gold. Kym, it's a pleasure to have you on the show, and we just can't thank you enough for having us in your beautiful home today. And we're just excited to learn all about, your upbringing and everything you've been through, your career, and what you're up to now. And so, taking it way back, I think I saw you were born in California. Around where did you grow up, and what was young Kym like?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. Nice meeting you guys. Welcome to my home. I grew up in Malibu, California. I'm an identical triplet. I have two brothers. And young Kym is pretty much who Kym is today. Very ambitious. Can't tell me what to do. I'm going to think outside of the box no matter what. And I think back then, I'm 57. So back then it was a lot more difficult for girls to be bosses and CEOs and get paid what we deserve. And as a woman, it's constantly paving the path for women.
Was there anyone you looked up to, like as a role model?
Oh, like the Gloria Steinemans of the world and the young trailblazer women that made the paths for us. And I feel that's part of who I am today is setting those, letting go of boundaries for women, and that we can basically rule the world.
Yeah,
Kym, you're the first triplet we've had on the show. What was it like growing up with two identical siblings?
I'm usually the only triplet that most people have on a show.
There we go.
Or identical triplet. I think being a triplet was really interesting. I believe that because my parents raised us to be individuals, people didn't think of us as individuals. So my sisters are amazing. We're identical. It made me work harder to be an individual.
Mm-hmm. Did you feel as though you had to go beyond who you were and almost, I don't want to call it inauthentic, but like almost an extreme version of yourself?
I think anybody who is constantly compared to two other people have that innate quality to go over and above to find out who you are, not be clumped into.
How did that reveal itself? Like what were you like as a result of that mindset?
It's interesting. We used to do commercials, and we did a lot of things that were probably expected of people who are twins or triplets, and child labor laws in that time. I think it's revealed itself of who I am as a true entrepreneur, and my sisters are, but my path just took a different route in where I am as far as business.
Right.
Yeah. What did your parents do for a living? And was there someone in your family or immediate circle that were entrepreneurs that you looked at that were like, oh, they started a business and I want to do that too, maybe one day?
Well, I have a stepfather and a real father who both are attorneys who went to law school together. My mom was a psychologist, and my stepmom does cancer research. She's part of the cancer research at Cedars. So I come from a very academic background. And when I said I was going to go into fashion, the only person who supported me was my mom. As a matter of fact, I was married to Mark Burnett. And at the time, my dad and my stepmom said, oh, you guys will not be successul if you go into the fashion business at the time. And
had Mark like kind of gotten his career going at the time? Like was Shark Tank around? Like were those? No, not yet.
No, Mark Burnett was working for me.
Yeah.
On the boardwalk. Mark and I met when I was very young. We're still very good friends now. But Mark always had that DNA chip of, fuck it, I'm doing this, you know?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, you said it, so there we go.
Well, you can always bleep it. I say it a lot. I don't really care. But I think that when you meet people that are like-minded, they're going to do what it takes to get it done. I have a motto. I say, not looking for a no, I'm looking for a yes.
Yeah. Do you have a process for seeking those types of people out and becoming friends with them and what is that? Because I think it's something that a lot of ambitious people probably have in common is like, how do I find more ambitious people to be friends with and where do I find them? So what's your kind of process for that?
It's interesting. The people I seek out are the people who I like to mentor. I find that's very gratifying. I find that there's a lot of young people, especially young women, who don't have mentors. And it feels that it's my plight in life to pay it forward when you are successful. I mean, it's really easy to hang out with people who are successful.
Yeah.
Were you always into fashion growing up?
Oh my God. Yes. I have always been into fashion. I was the one that went to all of the swap meets and I'd buy the stuff, put it together. I'd put it at the end of my bed when I was done at the end of the day. My sisters would wear it. I would deconstruct anything and everything to make it, something that I liked.
Mm-hmm.
What's your earliest memory of being interested in fashion? Where did it come from?
God, my earliest memory was taking my great-grandmother's scarves and my mom's stuff for her jewelry, her bags, and making it my own, which would be really an eclectic style. But I think a Jewish girl with a lot of tattoos.
Would your mom just show up and just be like, what'd you do to my bag?
Who took my bag? It's got to be Kym. I think it's just something you're born with. It's like people who are extreme athletes or something. It's just something you're born with.
Yeah. And so, and it was pretty clear early on that this is what I want to do for my career, my life is go down this fashion path.
Absolutely. I think that for me, it was a very early age when somebody said to me, my stepdad said to me, no one's going to buy a house, $5 million house from you, or nobody's going to, just real negative stuff. And I said, guess what? I got my real estate license. I started companies, probably at this point, 3 or 4 companies. I've sold most of them. And I like the feeling of being my own boss and not having anybody tell me what I can and can't do, what I can and can't buy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people, I would say, that have a very similar mindset of, I want to be my own boss, or I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to start my own company. I don't want people telling me what to do. But there's more people that don't end up doing it, or they end up doing it and not succeeding. versus those like yourself and the people that have been on our podcast for the most part that have actually succeeded, right? And even some of the people that have been on our podcast have eventually not succeeded. Looking back now 6 years, what was your mindset like when you just said, "I'm just gonna do it"? Was there a process involved, or was just let's just see what happens? Let's just make things happen, and wherever it goes, it goes.
I think the misnomer of a lot of people is, I'm doing this to make money. I'm doing this to be famous. I'm doing this for anything, the actual reason, which is passion. And I use that word a lot because if you don't have the passion to get up every morning and have people, employees, CFOs, COOs, people on your team not rallying together, not doing what it takes. If I don't have that passion, then no one else is.
Right.
So listen, it is no easy feat to do what we do to run a business.
Right. And just to play devil's advocate here, don't you think that passion is sort of a luxury? I mean, if you can't wake up every day and think about your passion without making money, right? Where you're $0 in the bank account or negative in the bank account, how does that play a role? Because I think there's a lot of people. I mean, we just try to be real on this podcast because there's people listening that are like, oh yeah, entrepreneurship is easy. I could just have a passion for wood. Let me be like a builder. Like it shouldn't be that simple. What do you say to that? Or how does that play a role? The having to make money aspect of entrepreneurship.
It's funny. I got the chills. You can see them while you're talking because no one knows this other than it's in a book that I'm not promoting the book. I'm just saying.
What is the book though? I want to know.
It's called Gold Standard.
Gold Standard.
People don't know that I had 3 little kids, basically started at 26 to 31 when I had 3 kids. We lost our home because we put all of our money into True Religion Brand Jeans, my now ex-husband, who was the co-founder. We were basically living in a hotel and we put all of our money on our credit cards to start this company. Now, it could have been easier to not do it.
Right.
With 3 kids, going to trade shows, putting our own money. I mean, $250,000 in debt, lost our home.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So I say passion because that's been my experience. Right. I have worked for 2 other people in my life while I was raising kids and starting True Religion. But I worked to make money and I worked on doing trade shows and making True Religion, a reality.
Yeah. And just to walk through your sort of mental process, let's say, you decide I have a passion for fashion. What's the next step? Like, how do you decide what's going to be a business and what's not? Because some people can say I have a passion for music, but they don't have musical talent, and they're like, what do I do? Maybe I'll go on the management side or something like that. But what is I guess the first step is deciding or figuring out, which actually is not always easy, is like, what is my passion? Like, what do I actually enjoy doing and want to do on a day-to-day basis? But then there comes the next step of like, how do I make this my life and make it a career?
What I do tell to creatives is know your business, okay? Because there's 2 sides of a brain, right? You got your creative side, you got your analytical side. Usually creatives don't have the analytical side and the business side and the fortitude, because we don't use that side of our brain to understand costs, what it takes, how much money I'm spending, your mission statement, everything it takes. So I think, I'm not saying you have to get a degree if you're creative. What I'm saying is know everything about your business, because if you say you're an entrepreneur, no, you're going to use your own money because you have to. I don't think an entrepreneur is an entrepreneur if you're not investing in yourself, because if you're looking for investors, they want to know if you're investing in yourself, right. They want to invest in yourself. It's really been my experience. And I only speak from my experience. But I think that people know that it's going to take a while, that you're going to get a lot of no's. Not looking for a no, looking for a yes. That yes will come, because I don't think hard work ever gets unnoticed. But at the end of the day, get as much knowledge as you possibly can, so you know what you're talking about. You know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
where did the idea, you mentioned True Religion. I don't think that was your first company, if I'm not mistaken. Is it? Or
No.
what was the first company before we go into True Religion?
My goodness. I had a company called Bella Doll, which I sold. It's still around. Then I had a company called Hippie, which there was a dispute with the people that we were in business with. That happens. Do not go into business with friends, husbands. I always say that. And then we started True Religion. But before Bella Doll, there was a company called Kimberly Suits You, which was on the boardwalk, and I was making like literally $50,000 a month doing boardwalks, the boardwalk in Venice Beach, doing college quads, going downtown, gaining their damages for $5 and selling them for $20, doing swap meets. And at that point, I was getting my real estate license, and then I was buying buildings.
Interesting.
So at that point, did you feel like, this is my way of paying my dues to get into fashion? Or did you feel like I'm just going to go into real estate and I'm doing this on the side because it's my passion?
I think anything that you do, as my mom used to say, she was a therapist, so it means a lot when I say this. Wherever you go leads you to where you're supposed to be. So whether you do law, whether you do real estate, whether you build homes, whether you produce documentaries, which I do, whether you do ceramics or clothing, it's all intertwined. It's business. It could just be a different medium. It really doesn't matter. But the more knowledge you have will lead you to where you're supposed to be.
Yeah. So kind of fast forwarding a little bit. Well, I guess, were you, when you first started Belle Doll and Hippie Jeans, was it Hippie Jeans was the name? I think was around the time you started True Religion, right? It was like 2002-ish?
2001, 2002, yeah.
Were you already like into your real estate career at that point, or?
So the real estate was something like, I know somebody who's sitting here gets a law degree. I got a real estate, like just to get the knowledge.
Got it.
But I did buy buildings and sort of still do and have fun with it. It seems like a blur because it all happens so fast. It's like my ex-husband used to call me a tornado. If you don't get into her tornado, she'll spit you out, which is true. So one business after another, raising kids, being in debt, being homeless, which I say homeless because we didn't have a home with 3 kids. We were in a hotel. But True Religion was something that started out of our garage with my ex-husband. He was in fabric sales. I knew fashion, I knew business. And I said, and he lost his job with 3 kids. So while I was working, he was taking care of the kids, smoking a lot of pot.
Yeah. Which is sometimes where the best ideas come from.
It could be. No, but I think so, because he went like this. True Religion. It was from a tuna, hot tuna song, and that's our True Religion, Kym, and that's where it came from. Wow. I don't smoke pot, so
I was going to ask about the name, so it's just as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Jewish and I believe in Buddhism, and so the Buddha with playing guitar, because that's how the whole thing sort of came together.
And the horseshoe design?
The horseshoe is a funny story. My ex-husband, I don't even want to get into that. It was from Lucky Brand, and he liked the horseshoe, was upside down smile, and it wasn't something that I was so fond of, but
it just stuck.
And was the goal to start a jeans company?
That was the goal. I mean, Bella Doll was all knits. My actual passion was knits, high-end knits. That's when Juicy started, and I was doing Bella Doll. But I'm also a jeans girl. Yeah. I mean, Levi's is like, the mother of all denim. Yeah. But I wanted to make denim not casual Friday denim. I wanted it to be sexy, wear it out, make a statement. And so it was such an arduous process getting them made. I mean, it was like the seams and it was a very technical jean. Right. So people don't really know the tedious nature of making a very technical jean.
Yeah. I feel like denim is one of those things where it kind of ebbs and flows. Like, it's like we in the 90s, we had like denim on denim, and then, it kind of went away, and then it kind of came back. And I'm curious, at that time, what was like the market like? I mean, were there a lot of denim brands? And if there were, how did you think that you would sort of position True Religion to be successful?
Very good question. No, it's a really, really good question, because when I talk about passion, I also throw in what's not out there, what I don't see, what I want to wear, what my girlfriends want to wear, what my demographic of girls want to wear. And it wasn't out there. So there was 7 at the time. And I think that was it.
It's like the Fergie
7
song.
for All Mankind.
7.
7 for All Mankind.
What does Fergie say?
I don't know.
True Religion.
Yeah, Fergie. That's right. Listen, let me tell you something. That was.
Was Paige out yet?
Paige. So Paige, lovely Paige. She was my fit model for a while after I stopped being the fit model.
Yeah.
Because my husband said I was too big.
Yeah.
Like, do you see how small I am?
Very small. It's
small person.
So we've had Paige on the podcast now.
Paige
2
is
or
awesome.
3 years ago.
A while ago.
But I remember when we both went to USC, but I took a fashion class and I was the only guy there. So you know why I took that class. But
of course you did. You're a smart man.
I wasn't a fashion icon or anything. Still, I'm not.
Smart man.
But Paige came and they talked about how she was a fit model, and I was like, I don't know what that means. And they said, well, she had the perfect butt, and so all the jeans at the time, or whoever was designing fashion or good jeans, would use her as the fit model.
Well, what's interesting is the demographic of women that I wanted to fit, I started with the J-Los of the world, the Beyoncés, women who were curvier, because listen, skinny girls can wear anything. True story.
More options.
Sorry?
They have more options typically.
Well, they really do. And back in the day, I think that, again, technical. So it's lower in the front, higher in the back. It's a, the way they do the inseams and the knee opening and the leg opening and the kabai, all of it, very technical. I'm not going to go into it, but makes the woman look the best that she can look, no matter what size. And I think a demographic of women now are being more served, that demographic of women, which is most of America.
Right.
Yeah. So when you first get it going, what is, like you said, you're sort of kind of just starting out of your garage. You're just kind of getting materials, putting it together. Who are you selling to, and when does it kind of start feeling like this is becoming a real business?
So it doesn't feel like a real business for a while, other than we started with men's, because I think that if you start with a men's brand, then women will wear them. If you start with a women's brand, oftentimes men are like, I'm not wearing the same jeans that
women are wearing. Yeah.
Women are wearing. So we started with men's, and it was like all the girls were wearing the first boyfriend jean. So it just started with one jean. And I think that at the time, because I was in fashion for a while, I sent 13 jeans to then the Fred Siegel's in Santa Monica, and it just snowballed. And I just would give them to people and talk to the, which is a lost art now. You go into retail stores and you talk to the girls and you give them an education and you give them to them. And so they feel like there's a connection. It's a lost art, which is brick and mortar, which is sort of sad because it was so fun to go in and try stuff on and be a part of the looking at people try stuff on and go out of the store and buy them. So
I think it'll come back because direct-to-consumer is going to get crushed.
Do you think so?
I think so. The margins don't make sense. Too much money on advertising.
Right, but then you have to pay for brick and mortar. You have to pay for employees. You have to pay for a lot of things that you're not doing direct to consumer.
I think there's going to be some sort of a convergence there of how that's done. And I mean, this is a completely different topic.
I hope so.
But I think real estate will play a factor into that with the last mile showroom / it'll be more of a showroom model.
Not to mention, direct sort of communication with your customer and like that brand loyalty of like, I walked into a store and I had a great experience, and sometimes I even met the founder there and spoke to them, and now I'm a customer for life. Sort of thing.
Well, it's interesting. With the new company I have, Style Union Home, I have a retail in front.
Yeah.
I like to listen to what people have to say. I think the lost art of that too is education for the
Right.
designer and owner and founder of the company. Why do you like it? What can I do better?
Right.
I mean, when we started with True Religion, it was all about the butt. It was the size of the pocket. It was what to make, talking to, and I've spoken to J-Lo and Beyonce and people like that. Well, what they liked and what was missing. And I think part of the success of True Religion was that it fit so many
Right.
different sizes.
See, but I think about a brand like True Religion, right? And if we were today, right? If you launched True Religion today, there's so much noise online, right? To stand out, the amount of capital that you have to invest into it versus let me go into different retailers, let me go on the street, let me go talk to people, the more grassroots. I think long term, again, and I don't know, I don't have the answers to everything, but I think long term is a lot more sustainable than, going just direct to consumer online only and then launching. And then again, it's just, I think it's going to come down to a lot of the capital versus how human nature works, because humans will be adaptable, right? Like, I mean, we had the pandemic and we were adaptable. Then we came out and now retail is the hottest it's been. So I think it's just very cyclical. But I think, when I think about a True Religion brand, how do you just buy that online? Unless somebody's told you, you have to try this on, you've got a curvy body, this is going to fit your body, you've got to go see it. You got to go try it on.
I could not agree with you
Yeah.
more. I mean, I was going to say that word cyclical, because
Yeah.
you were talking about jeans at the time, and
Yeah.
everything is cyclical.
Right.
But for me, the fun part of retail was guerrilla marketing, going into the stores. But I think it's going to be both.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be both.
I started with, we have 250 retailers now. We've only been in business a little over 2 years with Style Union Home.
Mm-hmm.
That was really hard to sell online.
Right.
And it wasn't even online. It was, we did live Instagrams, and I had to learn so many new adjectives.
Right.
I couldn't say amazing, gorgeous, stunning, looks fantastic. And I had to learn, my lexicon became a whole new,
It's a vibe. This
life.
is a vibe.
yeah, it's a vibe, but I think that the pandemic also changed the way we
Think and act.
think and communicate and interact.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with True Religion, was there like a breakout moment, or was it kind of a slow initial kind of growth until, it was kind of, everywhere?
There was a couple breakout moments when Usher wore it on the Grammys. I personally brought him to his house. And then Fergie, that happened. And then Vegas Magic Trade Show happened for like the second or third time. And it was like, I couldn't believe my fucking eyes. I went down to the trade show, and it was like there was a line of people, of vendors, of customers.
Right.
I was like, this can't be happening. They're not at our booth. So there's this aha moment where you absolutely can't believe it.
Yeah. And so was there like a long-term plan of where you kind of wanted to take the company? Or was it like, we're just going to, keep coming out with new designs as we see fit type of thing?
Well, I think what happened was it went public very quickly. And for me, eventually that was the something that it was just really difficult for me to be creative as the vice president, as the largest shareholder of a company and an all-male board of directors. I didn't sign up for that. Mm-hmm. And that's why I sold my shares and walked away with, nice sum of money. But like I said, I wake up every morning wanting to live my life, not just for money. It's not about that. My passion is design, starting companies. And if I'm not happy, then why should I stay?
Why'd you guys decide to go public then?
It was a great way. Bethany Frankel asked me that question. She said, well, my company is, I'm doing $150 million. Why hasn't anybody approached me? Well,
because you're in your pajamas interviewing me, Bethany. Yeah.
Bethany. Bethany. You save yourself from yourself. I'm sorry. Her whole thing that she's doing right now on blasting hating Bravo. Don't hate the people who elevated you.
Right.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
It's my pet peeve. So I had to say that. Don't do it. Like my ex-husband, not a fan, but he's brilliant in fabric. He was a great partner at the time.
Right.
You know, you got to give kudos where it's deserved.
Why'd you go public?
Great way to fund a company. Great way to fund a company. And I'd never been part of a public company.
Right.
It was a great education.
Could you give us like a highlight for those listening that don't know what that looks like? How do you raise that money?
So it doesn't happen often. In this particular instance, these people approached us who built shells for a company that started at 5 cents OTC. Once you get to 7, then you get to ring the bell. And the people who did it, I mean, it was so fast. I was just learning, so I wasn't even sure. It was like Martha Stewart was just going into jail and you couldn't talk about it. It's like, okay, whatever you say. Yeah. I knew what not to say from the SEC, and you don't say anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't tell anybody anything. So at the time, my husband and I were like, this is a great way. Here's $250,000 bonus. We'll fund the company. We'll sell shares, and it'll be a great way to build this company. And I think when you get shareholders and people who buy stock, you become increasingly wealthy on paper.
Right.
Doesn't mean you're wealthy.
There's no cash.
Yeah.
No. And when we sold the company close to $1 billion at the time, we were $500,000 cash flush. I mean, we were
$500,000.
We had money in the bank.
Yeah.
I mean, we were opening up
$500,000 or $500,000,000?
$500,000.
$500,000.
But companies don't have $500,000
Right.
sitting in a
Cash,
bank.
Yeah, cash flow.
Capital sitting. It was just money. We managed it really well. We were audited every quarter. We ran it very cleanly.
You know, when it comes to legal help, I'm tired of hidden fees and complex billing structures. Isn't there a better way?
Well, that's exactly what Decrypted Law offers. They're pioneers in transparent flat fee pricing for startups. And guess what? They even have a subscription service for fractionalized general counsel.
Subscription service for a law firm?
That's right. Decrypted Law is revolutionizing the way legal services are consumed. For a flat monthly fee, startups can now have access to top-tier, on-demand legal counsel.
Wow, that's a game changer. No more bill shock, just clear, predictable costs. Decrypted Law, they're not just breaking down legal complexities, they're making legal services more accessible. Learn more and contact them at decryptedlaw.com. Mention the Founder Hour podcast so they know who sent you.
Love soda? Listen up. Introducing Olipop, a new kind of soda that's actually good for you. It's the fastest growing beverage brand in America, and here's why you'll love it too. Gut health matters, and Olipop has your back. 2 out of 3 Americans suffer from digestive issues, and Olipop tackles that with a soda that tastes amazing. With 9 grams of prebiotics in every can, it's the gut-friendly choice you've been waiting for. Now let's talk flavors. Vintage cola, classic root beer, my favorite, orange squeeze, classic grape, and more. It takes me back to those childhood days. And guess what? Olipop has way less sugar than traditional sodas. Vintage cola only has 2 grams of sugar compared to the 39 grams of sugar in a regular Coca-Cola. Pretty impressive, huh? But it doesn't stop there. Olipop's drinks are non-GMO, vegan, paleo, and keto-friendly, with less than 8 grams of net carbs per can. They've got something for everyone. Ready to give Olipop a try? The Founder Hour listeners can get 20% off their next order with the code FOUNDER20, FOUNDER 20. Head to their website, www.drinkolipop.com, or find Olipop in over 22,000 stores nationwide.
The biggest fortunes aren't made on Wall Street. They're made way before startups hit the stock market. Consider Mike Walsh, a name just like any of ours who invested $5,000 into Uber. And that investment money, it grew to a staggering $24,827,400. Such opportunities were once behind closed doors, reserved for those with connections and vast fortunes. But that's no more. Start Engine is tearing down those exclusivity walls and making startup investments accessible to you and me.
With Howard Marks, co-founder of the gaming giant Activision, at the helm, Start Engine and its 1.7 million users have fueled startups with over $1.1 billion. This is no longer just an investment platform, but an investing revolution. And it gets better. They're inviting you to be a part of their journey. With just $500, you can join their live fundraising round and own shares of this revolutionary company. Click the link in the episode description and jump on board before their investment round wraps up.
You know, it's interesting when, and I feel like I haven't seen too many people who are like creatives who are at the helm of their company that go public and survive like that whole process. Because once you go public, I feel like, I mean, you can speak to this obviously more, but there's a whole different kind of set of, you know, things that you have to think about. And it's not no longer just like, let me just wake up and do whatever I feel like doing that day. What was it like for you? And you mentioned earlier, like it didn't work out too well.
No, I think that, again, then I was back in a situation where men were telling me what I can and can't do.
Like, this is what we're releasing. You're not doing this.
Yeah, Steven Tyler came and they were like, wanted to do t-shirts for Steven Tyler. Guys, why? Love you, Steven. Great guy. But they wanted the guys on the board wanted to say, we're working with Steven Tyler. We get to go on the privates and go to Vegas and get to do this and hang out with Steven Tyler. So for me, I was in a public company is a whole separate company.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, you are so beholden to your shareholders, which is awesome. And I don't suggest it if you don't have the wherewithal to know that you're running two companies and being told what you can and can't do. I mean, I was the vice president of women's, designing, opening up 300 stores. So head of a lot of stuff, and trying to raise 3 amazing boys. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't happening anymore. And I wasn't happy anymore, and I wasn't doing myself any favors by being there.
I hope you said dream onto that board when they asked about Steven Tyler's shirts. It was in my mind, and I had just to release it, or else it was gonna.
But it was gonna
be in my dreams tonight.
No, you know what? You didn't miss a thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Subsequently, he played at my house in Malibu, and I was with Marianne Williamson. We did a fundraiser.
Is that the one who ran for president?
Yes. Okay. And he was at that with Shaka Khan. He was there, and I was like, "Do you remember?" He's like, "Why didn't we ever do T-shirts?" I'm like, "Fuck off! I'm on the, we built a stage for you, and I'm on the piano seat with him, and
everything is shirts." Come on, Steven.
Run DMC,
Yeah. So you bring up, you were raising 3 boys. How did you manage your time? I mean, building a company, nonetheless, a public company, it's difficult on its own. Being married, having a husband, right, having a spouse, and then obviously on top of that, 3 kids that they need attention. There's no choice, right? Like they have to be raised somehow. They have to be fed. They have to be taken to school, right? There's so many things that you have to do. How were you guys managing that process or that part of your life?
It's really interesting. I've said this a gazillion times, and I will say it till the day I die. They are my biggest accomplishment. Because when you are there, you take them to school, you're home for dinner. And when you're there was no phones, no TVs. You could see I don't have TVs downstairs, or we have one TV in this house. I have one over there, actually. I'm lying. But we don't use it. But you have to be present, because kids know that it's not the quantity, it's the quality of time. Mm-hmm. And I'm best friends with my boys. They're 26, 29, and 30. We're best friends. So you manage it. There is a way. If there is a will, it's a priority. It was a priority.
Yeah. Just to sort of wrap up the True Religion sort of era of your life, I think I saw it wasn't like too much after you left that the company ended up like going through bankruptcy and all that kind of stuff. You can kind of brag here, but do you think it's because you were the creative and left and weren't kind of directing the creative strategy? Yeah, pat on the back. Yeah.
Well, I've been told by the board of directors, we wish you hadn't left. I mean, it's on record. Yeah. I feel that in any company, okay, when the sole designer, founder leaves a company, it changes. It just does. I've been asked quite a few times to come back by the CEOs, and there's been a lot of changing of the guards there, but they didn't change the women's side for a really long time. women's always sells better than men's. And I think the ego of my ex-husband was like, fuck her, I'm doing this. And I've said this to his face. It isn't anything I wouldn't say.
Yeah.
I've never talked behind anybody's back. I'm going to say something to you. I'm going to say it to you.
Yeah.
And subsequently have been told, we made a mistake.
And they just kind of stuck to their sort of flagship products that they had and didn't really come out with anything innovative. Yeah.
I mean, I consulted and I tried to give my perspective, but egos play a big part when companies are acquired and new people come in and think, Tommy Hilfiger, for perfect example, left the company, came back and changed it.
Yeah.
Because he was the
Visionary.
founder. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you obviously had made a good sum of money at the time, and even though that wasn't what you were pursuing, did you know or did you care what was next after you left True Religion? Because I mean, you were still very young. Your boys were young, still young. What was?
I always care what's next.
Yeah. So what were you going to do?
Shit. Well, I did Home Shopping Network
Okay.
for the experience. That was fun.
And when you say you did it, you mean like sold products on there?
Yeah, that was fun. I produced some documentaries. I built homes. I started other companies. I started a company called Baba Cool. And really, the only thing that money does, people go, oh, she's so full of shit, whatever money, you don't know, she's got this much money. I'm telling you, I am the same person I was. I just am able to make different choices.
Right.
Yeah. It's just, I feel like you can I feel it's great to remain the same person because maybe a lot of people lose themselves in that process. But it's also like thinking about the opposite of like, if I didn't have enough money to do the things that I love or want to do every day, what would life look like? And thinking from that perspective, it's like, oh, wow. I mean, anyways, just a thought.
No, well, I think I've seen it change people. I think what happens when you become really successful, it's the people around you that change.
Yeah.
I've had this conversation with lots of people, especially Kevin Hart. Kevin goes, how many attorneys do you have on? And I'm like, I don't. You do not know who I am. I'm not out there. I'm behind the scenes. I like to be able to employ a lot of people, especially with my company now, artisans who are getting paid really well to do what they love to do.
Yeah.
So I don't need to be out there.
Mm-hmm.
No, because then you're a target.
Why do you think the people around you change?
Well, before I met my now husband, Marlon, when I was in Malibu, there was a lot of people around that are hanger-oners and feel like, oh, it's this big house in Malibu. What can we do? We'll go to Nobu. She'll take it. Right. She'll buy it. We're on the private. So I got rid of all of that. I got rid of the Bentleys, the house. I got rid of all of it. One car, one house. Mm. And there's no out there. You put yourself out there and then people want to be a part of that. Mm-hmm. It's really weird.
But did that mean that you had to change yourself so that others around you won't take advantage or won't, want to be a part of whatever that lifestyle that they desired was?
Yes, I had to I'd have to have my antennas up. I mean, if I could tell you the things that have happened, it's horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible.
I'm curious, were your parents around or are they still around? And did they see the success of True Religion?
Yes, my mom is no longer around. So sad about that because she was my biggest supporter, but the psychologist. I think I have 5 brothers and 2 sisters, okay? And being the one most successful changes the dynamic. Mm-hmm. Why should you be in the will if you have so much?
Right.
This is what my dad has said to me. Why are we paying for your dinner? You have so much. A lot of different things. Mm-hmm. And okay. Coming from the parents who said I would never make anything of myself. Mm-hmm. Fuck you. Mm-hmm. I don't talk to them anymore. Mm-hmm. You don't get to choose your parents, but you can choose if you talk to them anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do you these days choose who you surround yourself with? Like, let's say you meet someone new. You're like, I want that person to be like my friend or someone that I see often. Like, is that, I mean, like, because I feel like, I don't know, I wonder if there are certain
signs.
No, it's almost like, you see a lot of A-list celebrities marrying A-list celebrities. You see a lot of C-list celebrities marrying C-list. I wonder if it's like this like league thing of like, maybe they're kind of on a similar life path level. Level seems so shallow, but like level that I don't have to worry that they're, my friend or they're with me for money or vice versa. It's like, you know what I mean?
Oh, I've been to a lot of those parties,
Yeah.
and those people. And I've had talks with my husband about this, about people who I'm at these parties, we're at Craig's, we're here, and I'm like, I don't like those people.
Yeah. I
like the person who invited me, but I don't like those people. Sorry to say, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Over a period of time who's your friend and who's you're not, and especially I don't tell people who I am. What people say is, oh, there's this girl, she's full of tattoos. They don't know who I am. And then somebody will say she's, this woman from True Religion or co-founded, and then they become my friends. So there's your indicator.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Yeah. And it's so obvious sometimes.
So fucking obvious. It's like, I see you.
Yeah.
And because of the experiences that I've had in the past that people have really fucked me over, you just go, oh, I know what to look for now.
Yeah.
But it's not going to change my heart. It's not going to change me. I just know who to hang out with and who not to.
Right.
Yeah, I'm curious, like, and I'm not specifically talking about your situation with your family and, the lack of communication there, but it sucks that somebody's success leads to all these relationships that don't end up working out, whether it's friends, family, spouse, whatever it may be, because of really money. I mean, that's really all it is. It's not fame. It's not success. It's the money. Like, you can be not famous and have a lot of money, right? Which is a lot more people than are famous. I mean, if you had to look back, what would you have, or what would they have to have done differently for there to still be some sort of a relationship? I mean, it just sucks that that's the reality now. Of course, we're not trying to necessarily change it, but for those that maybe are in a similar position or will become in a similar position, and they're like, well, I don't want to lose my brother, or I don't want to lose my friends because I'm going to become some successful person. What can be done? How does that dynamic, how can you fix that dynamic before it's broken?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because I think in a lot of relationships, spouses and money is the key of, they say it's finances and sex in relationships, and finances if it's not intimate. Mm. I think it's, if somebody doesn't have the same amount of money, or if somebody doesn't do something, I'm telling you, it's the little things. Go pick up and make me dinner. Buy me a card, bring me flowers. Be supportive. Don't be jealous. Be supportive. Supportive is like the number one thing. So if I was
a non-successful person, or non-financially successful person.
I mean, I use that.
Make it a symbiotic, like reciprocal relationship.
100% reciprocal. Yeah. That's all. That's right. All I've ever wanted.
Right.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I just think about that. Not that I'm anywhere near financially successful, but you think about that, and you hear about, it's lonely at the top, right? Like, you hear that phrase versus the middle class or the lower class, like, they're hanging out. I've had this conversation with a lot of people of my friends used to like me more when I was not rich, and versus when I was rich or when I am rich, because I know that when they're coming to me, there's something that they want. Before, it was they just like to hang out with me. I mean, as a successful person, sitting across from you, how do you deal with that? Because, I mean, mentally, you're like, fuck, I did the right things. Like, I went out, I built a business, I got lucky, I got successful, it was great timing, whatever. But I'm the same person. I didn't change. I just have a lot more money. Like, why does that? I mean, like, I don't know. It's so hard to put it into a question or put it into words.
No, I get what you're saying, because
yeah.
I I've had people say to me, you don't even know what, a carton of milk costs. Well, maybe I don't, but that doesn't mean
that's because I'm a vegan.
But almond milk. You don't even know what the oat milk costs. Go get the oat milk from Air One. Yeah. And I only go to Air One because I make $500,000 a day. Yeah. And that's the only way I can a Ford Air One.
Yeah.
I think that, this is a really good topic because I think that I do everything. I never ask anybody to do anything that I wouldn't do. Take out the trash at work. I've got somebody here who works with me in my office and knows how important it is for me to be supportive, but I just want people to be reciprocal. I pay you really well. You're my friend. I treat you really well. You're my husband. We support each other. If you're not, working on a TV series right now, how can you be reciprocal? It's all about that fucking shit. Be reciprocal.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So if you're an asshole before you made money and you're going to be an asshole
After. Yeah.
because it's in there, or if you weren't an asshole, you may be an asshole because you got money. I don't think money is as powerful for me as my relationships. Because I'll tell you something, success is not going to hug me at night. Okay? It's not going to give me a high five when I get a sale. Look, I got chills. It's my kids. It's the memories. I'm telling you, people go, oh, that's so altruistic. It's true. It's fucking true. My kids call me every day and tell me I love me. You think I'm going to... They always say to me, most importantly, you know what, Mom, your eulogy is going to be amazing. That's all I care about.
Yeah. That's great.
And all the money that I have in the bank goes to them.
It's interesting because I've had this conversation with a lot of people, and we've had similar.
And what do
conversations.
most of them say?
It's what you say. It's what you say.
Okay,
right? It's that money doesn't matter, right? That's the summarized version of it. And I always tell my counter to that is it's easy to say that because you have the money.
That's not true.
I know.
Yeah,
and so versus somebody who hasn't made it yet and is like, hey, I want to get to that point where I could make money and then say the same thing to the next generation. So what's the happy medium, right? Like that's what I think of is because most people are not going to get to a level of uber success.
right.
But they could get to the happy medium, which is I am comfortable. I've worked hard. I've reached a place where money doesn't matter. Like for me, like my definition of wealth is and always has been, I could walk in if I like something, I'm going to buy it. Right? Like it's not
That's
how
a
much.
good happy medium.
Yeah, it's a good happy medium.
That's a great.
Yeah, I don't know how much it costs. It could be $10. It could be $10,000. I'm going to buy it because I like it.
That's
but
a
depends
happy
what you're
medium.
walking into.
it depends where you walk into, right?
But it depends on where you walk in. But
So if you walk into Style Union Home, I'm just like, I just want to buy this, and we're good to go.
Okay, so it's really funny because I always say I've had the same people in my life for a really long time, and one of the things I always say is the only thing that I just want to go private,
Right.
because it's like the one thing.
Yeah.
It's not so much what I can buy and what I can't buy. I want to be able to have that autonomy where I could get on a plane and do that. That's like the one thing.
Yeah.
That's not a happy medium. I don't know,
Right.
but it depends on what that is.
Right.
I don't go private anymore because of it seems a little too much.
Yeah.
But they have this service at LAX. It's called PS.
Yeah. We
And
have a friend that works there.
It's the best fucking service. You save so much money and they're so amazing. They take you on the plane, on the tarmac, and you go right up there.
Amazing.
It's amazing. That's a brilliant business. Brilliant. The best businesses are the ones that nobody think of. Because when you knock somebody off who's already done a business, you're the second. You want to be first, not first to be second. That's another one. You want to be first, not first to be second. That's another one.
Is that in the gold standard?
Yeah.
There we go.
You have to be first, not first to be second. It's kind of like people who choose casting directors or, people who do R&D for music. It's like, be the first person to take a risk.
Right.
Choose that person, do that business. It's going to be a little more difficult, maybe a little bit longer. Completely went off track here, but
Okay.
anyway.
No, that's a good point. I mean, there's definitely arguments to be had about like, in business, they call it like the first mover advantage and the second mover advantage. The first mover kind of creates a category and could dominate. But like, there are examples like the Googles of the world that came like were 7th and 8th when it came to search engines, but they just did it better than everybody else. Right. So, but I think that I agree with you. Like there's a lot of, it's not even like capturing a market because the market doesn't even exist yet when you create something. That's the beauty of it because you're kind of the first,
The
to do it.
trailblazer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So anyways, I think so Style Union Home, I think I saw you started it kind of in the middle of the pandemic.
The beginning.
The beginning of the pandemic.
The very, very,
so before
very
it even
beginning.
happened.
Like, yeah.
So what happened? Yeah,
like
how did that
December.
December of 2019.
Yeah.
Wow. So
Like-
what inspired that, and what happened? Like when we were getting it off and then COVID happens, what happens?
Well, I started it out of my home, and it started because I have a lot of pieces that my mom would always have Sunday night dinners, and these pieces just have memories. And people don't think of, what they eat on is as important as what they're eating for me, okay? Because it's all about family. And my son, Dylan, my youngest, for Mother's Day and my birthday, which basically fall on the same day.
So you have Pat's birthday?
I'm on May 12th. So
I'm May 13th,
yeah.
Friday the 13th.
Amazing. Or one
Oh,
day.
so you're a Taurus.
Yeah, I am a Taurus.
That's why I like
Couldn't
you.
tell?
I like you too. But,
I'm in May too, but I'm not a Taurus.
oh, so you're a
Gemini.
Gemini. I still
Now
like
you like me less. Yeah,
No, I still
It's
like
okay.
you. I still like you.
okay.
No, I like you guys both. You're awesome.
Thank you.
And I said, I was building homes and I was thinking, God, when you stage homes, and you probably know, well, you will know this, you kind of know this. It's could be somewhat of an arduous process finding the stager, and it always looks like Meredith Bear, always looks like the same house. And
It's like CB2.
it's like CB2
West
meets West Elm meets Home,
Depot.
not Home Depot.
Home Goods?
What is there's this?
Restoration Hardware.
Well, I like restoration. No, it just
IKEA.
could be,
Yeah.
but it doesn't, because 70%
So unoriginal.
so unoriginal, and 70% of the buy of a home is emotional, and then they want to buy everything in the house.
Right.
So I was building homes. This one home in Studio City. I thought, how do I do this? I'm doing pottery. Oh, I know. I could do this. I could do home goods. It's like fashion. It's like producing. It's like building homes. It's like I said earlier, I'm very consistent, by the way. Everything is everything. It doesn't matter. It's just a different medium. Business is business, no matter what. So I started this business, and it's home. And who knew that it was going to be the pandemic? And then I thought, fuck, what am I going to do? So I didn't have any photographers. I had maybe 2 potters. I was on the wheel. I was like, what am I going to do? My son and my husband said, well, why can't you just have a hobby? I said, you don't know me very well.
Well, I would think everyone's home, right? So they're maybe like even thinking more about what they're doing at
But
home.
nobody was thinking no stores were going to be open.
Right.
I didn't have photographers to do.
This was like early on.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, just okay. Then you got to stay home, and I don't have people. And then what am I going to do? And then I did my own website, and I had kilns that weren't being delivered. And it was just like, okay, I just did it. And we're in over 250 retailers within 2.5 years.
What are some of the retailers? I'm sure.
Oh my God.
Some,
Oh boy.
Some of the key
Amber,
ones.
Amber Interiors, Lulu in Georgia, Parachute, Wild Blue, that have like 3 or 4 stores in like Aspen and New York. And I have a couple restaurants. The retailers are very high end.
Right.
Interior designer type of. We do some really great collabs with JetLinks, the private air
Yeah.
jet company I was using.
Are these all homemade? Or are they all like handmade? Excuse me, not homemade. Handmade?
Everything is handmade.
Yeah.
I have about, 10 in-house potters. I have outside potters. I've recently gone to Thailand. I'm going to be going to Portugal, because in order for me to scale and have my company acquired, I don't want somebody to have the headache in order for it to scale, it's got to be offshore.
Right.
I hate to say that, but it is
Yeah.
true story.
What you just said is interesting. You said to scale and to be acquired. Do you always, well, maybe now these days, do you start with kind of the end game in mind? Of
Always.
Yeah. So you're not just starting a business to just start a business. You're starting a business because you obviously want to do it and you love it, but you think long term of like, is this something that someone would want to buy someday?
Well, I'm putting a deck together right now for financial, for funding, because I put all my money in it right now. And I think that if anybody, and yes, to answer your question, fellow Taurus, great question, is if people know me, they know that if they want to invest in something that I'm doing, that I will get it acquired, because I've laid the foundation. I've put the money in. I've hired the people. I've done Style Union Home is a company that people have tried to do, but it cannot be done. You're taking artisan pieces by hand and then scaling it. Okay. And it's my legacy. This will be my legacy. It's my last fucking hurrah.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you just mentioned it earlier. I might have missed it. But when you say scale, how do you envision that happening when you want it to be handmade? Is it just a matter of hiring more potters, or do you see like, everyone's talking about the robot revolution in AI and all these things? No.
The scaling for me means when you do hospitality, because I can't make a good portion of what I make in LA
Yeah.
at a cost-effective manner and with those margins. I have payroll tax, I have medical insurance, I have rent. It costs about a minimum, and I'll just be transparent. It's like $120,000 a month to run my company.
Yeah.
You got to do $250,000 a month in sales just to almost break even. So, if you have somebody who wants to come in and acquire, they want a certain amount of gross margins, and they want to know that they can make it in a timely manner, from lighting to dishes for, I don't know, all the W's, hotels in the world, or whatever it is. I do collabs now, and I do really well with my menorahs. And we're doing a collab with Crate and Barrel. It's their first flagship that's going luxury in New York. So you want to hand off a company or get acquired by when all of this is done. Right. There's no thinking. It's, I can scale it and I can make, I can sell it for 30 million, and they ultimately could sell it for 100, 200 million.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you sound like you've started businesses before. Sure.
So if we know anybody who wants to invest and wants to ride I own it 100%.
Wow. Yeah. That's incredible. So kind of looking forward, what is the next kind of the foreseeable future look like? Not just in business, but in life. Like, are there other things that you want to accomplish, you want to do that maybe you haven't had a chance to do yet?
I want to live in another country. I'm going to Portugal. I want to probably buy something there, and I want to be like work here and, be in both places.
Have you decided why Portugal? Is it just because of the work aspect of it, or
probably the work aspect? And they're very inviting to Americans. They want to give work visas. They want to, they're very accepting of people starting businesses there.
Yeah.
And I don't speak Portuguese. I do speak Spanish fluently, but I don't speak Portuguese.
Yeah. Lisbon?
Probably Lisbon. Yeah. I'll probably work in Lisbon or something, and maybe buy a place by the ocean. I don't know.
I feel like I know like a good handful at least of people personally that are like born in America, raised in America, but moved to Lisbon. It's just
So I better go before it becomes way too trendy.
Right. No. It's just, Lisbon is one of the examples, but just so many places in Europe, South America, like so many places that, like you said, are very welcoming. And that kind of sucks, like for us, like in Americans, like in America. But at the same time, it's kind of cool to, I think, have different experiences like that. And like, do you think that would be like a long-term thing for you, or you just feel like doing it now and see
I'll probably do it very soon. I mean, I'm probably going to Portugal in October, and I'm always looking. I mean, I get kind of bored easily, so obviously.
So you're building Style Union Home. You're investing in building your own homes. Do you do anything else like for fun, or is this your fun?
This is fun. I love to read.
Okay.
And I love to go for sushi, and I love my kids, and I have a grandchild. So that's my fun.
What's your favorite sushi restaurant in LA?
Matsuhisha. Not Nobu. Matsuhisha.
Specifically.
And Asanobu up the street.
Yeah. That's in Sherman Oaks or Studio City?
That's Studio City. It's right up the street.
Yeah.
And it's fun when you go into a restaurant and the waiters and the waitresses and they know you, and they say, hi.
Yeah.
That's actually it's called Sushi Row, right? Ventura.
Is it sushi? Yes, it is.
It's the most.
Most outside Japan.
It's the most sushi restaurants in a small kind of area, like
per capita.
I didn't know that. You guys should have somebody. My really good friend Lisa Heslop, who's married to Grant Heslop, big producer. George Clooney's. She's doing a documentary on cancel culture.
Good.
But the story behind that is she introduced me to Asanobu, and there's a plaque that says George Clooney and Grant Heslov. So I'm looking to get my plaque, my restaurant. So when I go in, I could go into my little table and it'll say Kym fucking Gold.
I love that. Kym, this has been such a fun conversation, and we can't thank you enough for being here and sharing it with us, but thank you so much.
Thank you guys. You guys are fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah.